Spoiler alert. This video will contain spoilers for season 2 of The Boys. What's up, everybody? It's me, E-Man from E-Man's Movie Reviews. I just got done watching episode 7 of The Boys. Wow. I mean, that episode did not disappoint at all. This was full of shockers and twists. I think a lot of it was set up, especially for, the final episode, which is coming out next week. But man, that ending was mind-blowing. Get it? Anyway, let's go through the episode and break down what happened. From the very jump, we see a young man being bombarded with media and television of fear-mongering of supervillains and keeping America safe again, which unfortunately leads to this man murdering someone else in cold blood. Wow. I gotta say, that was pretty heavy, in terms of like how they just started off the episode with that. I mean, I think this was like a clear, indication of what happens with the indoctrination that can happen with, far right extremist views constantly being taken in by people. And it basically can make people do like the crazy things, like go out and murder folks or become domestic terrorists. And I mean, this really just seems like a ripple effect of Homelander and Stormfront's new agenda. And that agenda is not to make people into murderers or anything. It's to drive emotions. I mean, Stormfront kind of alluded to this when she was talking about, like, if you can win over and control people's emotions, you can get people to do almost anything. Like, at that point, and she's got a point, because we see it even in today's world where people are so driven by emotion that they stop thinking critically and logically. They jump on any conspiracy theory, or they listen to things without checking for facts or sources. And this all works towards Stormfront's master plan, which is, she's talking about there's going to be a war for the culture and they need to build up an army. So slowly and surely, they're building up their base in some way, shape, or form. Moving on, the boys, Mallory, and the Congresswoman are building up their case against Vought. Their star witness is going to be Lamplighter. Now, Lamplighter is clearly under a high level of deep depression, and the only thing he wants to do is, watch superhero porn. Annie is on the run from Vought, but still agrees to meet up with her mom in a coffee shop. Well, that was pretty dumb. I mean, seriously, you're on the run. You've got a superhero out there that is ready to kill you because, Homelander's nuts. You got a whole billion-dollar company that's looking for you at all times, and you want to meet your mom for some coffee? If you don't send her a postcard or something? Anyway, Black Noir comes busting through and captures Annie because Annie's dumb mom called Vought trying to fix things. Annie gets locked up in a cell where she can't use her powers anymore. Billy gets a call from his mother that his father's passed away. Turns out that his father is alive, but he is still dying. According to Billy's father, that tough love that Billy endured as a kid was a way to toughen him up. Unfortunately, that abuse resulted in Billy's younger brother in committing suicide, which Billy blames his father for. Billy's father, on the other hand, tells Billy that he turned out tougher than him, so in a sense, he did Billy a favor by making him so tough and gritty. Now, watching this story with Billy, I kind of thought it was like a filler. I didn't really see the relevance of it. I'm like, can you get back to fighting the heroes and stuff? Like, why is this important? But turns out that this story actually had a little bit more meaning, especially for Billy's character, than we thought, and I'll show you why a little bit later. Meanwhile, Homelander and Stormfront are flying around doing their press rallies. They tell the people that they actually have a traitor in the midst of the Seven, and that it's Starlight. While Homelander actually wouldn't mind killing her, Stormfront reiterates the point that the goal is to show that there's a common enemy for both the heroes and the people to hate together. Now, I mean, Homelander is out here stoking the xenophobia about immigrants and stuff like that. And Stormfront casually kind of like slipped this in by saying, we need more soups. And all of this sounds like a very convenient way to kind of like ease people into the idea of using Compound V on adults, which is exactly the research that Stormfront and Vought had been doing in that psych facility. Also, this racist chick is borrowing straight from the Nazi playbook. What they're doing to Annie in terms of finding that common enemy is similar to what the Nazis did to the Jewish people by making them a scapegoat. It was easier to have that common enemy to drive people's emotions, and as a result, it also allowed the Nazis to, well, get away with murder, literally. So it seems like Stormfront is creating a very similar path here. While at the rally, Stormfront sees a baby and Homelander thought it was a good idea to introduce her to his son, Ryan. Homelander and Stormfront immediately start to overstep the parental boundary lines by trying to defy Rebecca. Now, I really like this exchange between Homelander and Becca because Homelander mentioned that he did not like the fact that the truth of the outside world was being hidden from his son. He mentioned that he was raised the same way, being so sheltered and being lied to, that all of that really messed him up. Rebecca countered him by saying that unlike Homelander, Ryan has a mother who's around and helping to raise him. So that can make a major difference in his upbringing. Look, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think I agree with Homelander here. I mean, here's the thing. Homelander was one extreme, right? Where he was sheltered and then he was pushed into using his powers. And Ryan is on the other side of that, where he's also sheltered, but he's pushed not to use his powers. Both are problematic situations because they're both being lied to in a sense. And I mean, I guess you can use a better option, which would be in the case of like Superman, for example. You've got this superpowered kid, and his parents didn't really shelter him from his powers, but they did raise him to have like better morals, so that way he could use his powers more responsibly. So yeah, I do think that Becca was wrong here. One thing that was also apparent was that Stormfront really took some interest in Ryan because essentially he's Vought's dream come true as being the very first natural-born child with superpowers. After some coercing and revealing the truth about the outside world, Ryan has been flipped against his mother. Just as Homelander had said, Ryan was upset about being lied to, and the Supes end up flying away with the boy, leaving Becca all alone. Meanwhile, MM and Mallory are seeking out a key witness to testify against Vought, so they pay a visit to Dr. Vogelbaum. Again, wow, didn't see this coming. I thought the last time we saw him, in season 1, after he lied to Homelander, especially about Becca and his child, I thought this dude was dead and gone. But now we see him and he's like in a wheelchair. Like, did Homelander put him in the wheelchair then? But I'm also wondering, did Homelander not kill him because maybe Dr. Vogelbaum was like the closest thing to a father that Homelander actually had. And I think that's just kind of a testimony to how, no matter how screwed up your parents might be or your parental figures, you still might end up having a sense of attachment and or love for them. While Dr. V declines to testify, we see MM and Mallory leaving, and Mallory shares the hard truth with MM that this battle is never going to end. She also gives him the option to go be with his family. Okay, now I see why the OCD with Mother's Milk is more relevant. His father was driven to the point of death, essentially, because he was trying so hard to fight against Vought, and it was like a never-ending battle. And now, MM is given that option to stop, but he's so driven because of this disease that he's not even willing to stop, even after he's given the option to have the one thing that he actually wants, which is to be with his family. That's kind of scary, to be honest with you. And now I also see why he was also very concerned about this disease. We also see A-Train and the Deep meeting up at the collective leader's birthday party. Turns out that the leader is going to have a meeting with Mr. Edgar, and the plan is to try and get A-Train and the Deep back into the Seven. They quickly find out that the church's program excommunicates its members who go against them in any way. Well, clearly, this show is poking fun or doing a parody of the Scientology religion. I wonder if this excommunication thing is going to have a role later on. Maybe A-Train or Deep will do something that goes against the church in some way, and they'll be forced to turn on one another. If that happens, who do you think will make the turn? I mean, the Deep has been drinking the Kool-Aid actually it's Fresca. but he's been drinking it for a long time, and he seems really indoctrinated into this religion. But at the same time, A-Train is very desperate to stay in the Seven, so I could kind of see A-Train being the one to throw Deep under the bus. I mean, this is the same dude that killed his girlfriend, so I don't know. As we move on to Maeve, she and Elena are just not going to work out. Elena still has those judgy eyes, and she just isn't ready to deal with the real issues that come along with being with Maeve. So, Maeve ends up sleeping with some other random guys, which clearly is going against the marketing plan of Vought. Now, even though we didn't really dig very deep into Maeve or her story or character, I thought this was actually a pretty powerful moment for her. And the actress really did a great job here too. I mean, when she asked Ashley, can you just be human for a freaking second? I felt that, especially when she had the one tear going down. It's like, man, I guess at this point, her sleeping around with these random guys or whatever is almost like a drug of choice to kind of like, still the pain of what she's going through. And I mean, if you really think about it, Maeve has gone through a lot. The woman she loves can't accept her. She can't save people like the passengers on the plane. Homelander is a psycho ready to make her life a living hell. And she has to live up to being a gay symbol that she really never signed up to do. All she wanted was just a break. After hearing about Annie being captured, Huey and Lamplighter set out to go rescue her. Lamplighter uses the secret entrance and finds out that he still has security access to the Vought building. Well, unfortunately, Lamplighter wasn't all that interested in actually helping and being a hero, and ended up committing suicide by setting himself on fire. On the bright side, no pun intended, that distraction caused the fire alarms to go off, which generated more power that Annie could use to break out. As she tries to leave, she runs into Black Noir and they get into a superhero battle. As Noir is about to put Annie down, Maeve steps in with the clutch rescue. Annie meets up with Huey and her mom, and they escape the tower together. Now, I have to say, this was dope. I love the superhero battle and the fighting and everything, because, all these superpower heroes are like, really strong. So I love that aspect of it. And I have to say, it was pretty funny that Black Noir was allergic to Almond Joys. Them things are nasty. But hold up. Black Noir is a brother? I guess the Seven is more diverse than I thought. Anyway, after her actions, I guess this really does put Maeve completely against the Seven now. She's crossed that line, and there's no coming back. She refused to go with Annie, but I'm guessing she's going to put her plan into effect to blackmail Homelander. Hopefully it just doesn't backfire on her. Meanwhile, Dr. V gets another visitor, and this time it's Billy Butcher. Billy demands to learn more about Homelander's upbringing. This was probably a way for Billy to get some dirt on Homelander, but instead, something else happened. Dr. V tells Billy about how Homelander was really a sweet and innocent kid. However, Dr. V also issued some of that tough love in an attempt to toughen up Homelander. Billy then threatened the doctor to testify against Vought, or else Billy would kill Dr. V's entire family. Now, the interesting thing here is that this brings us back to Billy's story that I mentioned earlier. Billy is just as sick as Homelander. Both of them had crappy father figures in their lives, and that turned them into the cruel people that they are today. The only real difference between the two is that Homelander has superpowers. With Lamplighter dead, the boys don't have a star witness anymore. However, the congressional meeting is shocked to see that Dr. V is now the new key witness who's going to testify against Vought. As the proceeding begins, heads start popping. Yo, this blew me away. I didn't see this coming at all. This was nuts. Dr. V's head, boom, pow, gone. The speedster dude, his head, pow. I'm just sitting here like, oh, you have got to be kidding me. I mean, everybody's getting migraines left and right. Where's the Tylenol? Oh my gosh. Now, was this Cindy, from the facility? Could this have all been cooked up by Stormfront maybe? I mean, this could all go in so many different directions. Now, I'm pretty sure that the heroes are probably going to use this as a way to spin it and say that, maybe it was supervillains that was out there randomly killing people, in a way to like win over public opinion. Also, with that speedster dead, that does create a new opening for A-Train to come back. Now, with Dr. V dead, though, if there was another trial that were to happen, I do think that the next best witness to testify against Vought, it's got to be Rebecca. Because now with Ryan gone, she's got no real reason to stay on that Vought property anymore. And she knows a lot of dirt. So I'm kind of thinking one way or another, she's going to come out of hiding. But I have no idea where this is going to go. I mean, you got Homelander and Stormfront. Now they got a little kid that they about to raise with superpower. This is shaping up to be something fantastic. I can see why they greenlit season 3 like before season 2 even came out. I get it now. Because clearly y'all got so much more to do. And I cannot wait till episode 8 to see where they go with this. Anyway, what did you think about this episode? Do you have any ideas of what is going to happen next? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments down below. With that said, thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video. I really, really do appreciate it. Be sure to come back next week. I will have my video up for episode 8. I'm pretty sure it's going to be freaking amazing, and that episode is just going to blow us all away. So if you're new, please consider subscribing to this channel. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and don't forget to ring that bell so you don't miss out when I drop my video. In the meantime, I've got more videos and reviews to do for you all, and until next time, I'll see you all later.